Good morning, lovely people of the internet world. It's Andy from gymnutrition.co.uk, back with another driving video in my luscious little van, driving in the beautiful Northampton, UK, where today's weather, it's shite. Tomorrow will be shite. Yesterday was shite with loads of high wind. So anyway, I didn't want to bring you a weather report particularly. I wanted to talk about today. I've got coronavirus, I swear I have. But if I can talk, what I wanted to say today is I'm getting a few, not hundreds obviously, but I get a few inquiries. I get a few messages asking what my background is in the industry and have I competed before and do you lift bro type of comments. So I wanted to address them for the people that are remotely interested in that. If you're not remotely interested in it, that's fine, and to be honest, I don't really blame you. So just skip to the next video, give me a little thumbs down or whatever you want to do. I prefer a thumbs up, but thumbs down is good. It shows interaction, which I think is good for the YouTube algorithms. And also leave a little comment as well. And please, if I happen to impart something of knowledge on you, it won't be that today. And if I make you smile, then that's a good thing. Smiling's good. We should all smile more. If everyone smiles more, the world would be a better place for everybody in it. So if I do make you smile, and you like smiling, then please consider subscribing. It is free, it doesn't cost you nothing. All you do is you click on it. If you want to see future videos, notification, click on the little bell as well. You don't have to click on the bell if you don't want to see dickhead every 5 minutes uploading a video, but you get the drift anyway. So today's video, I started, oh god, I can't speak. I started training in 1983, September 1983 to be precise, and the reason I was inspired to start training is that I watched one of the Rocky films. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the Rocky films, and also watched Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. And even though these, both Stallone and Bruce Lee, in my head back then, it was like, my god, these guys, especially Bruce Lee, these fighting skills were obviously, you know, legendary. Rocky not quite as much, but it's Hollywood, isn't it? But anyway, that's by the by. I was probably more impressed with their physiques, if I'm totally honest with you. I kind of seen those back when I was 18, young and impressionable, and also we wasn't exposed to, you know, media like we do now with the internet and so forth. So I'd never really seen any bodybuilders. I probably have heard of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I didn't really know who he was, or he hadn't been in any films at that time. So unless he was into bodybuilding, you wouldn't have known who he was. It's not on the TV and so forth. So anyway, I was inspired by the the physiques. I think, oh, I'd love to look like Stallone, or you know, or have a physique like Bruce Lee. Obviously a stretched out version of Bruce Lee, being 6'1". So I was inspired to find a gym. Now back in 1983 there was no such thing as, well, there was such things as gyms, but there wasn't a gym on every street corner. People didn't go to the gym, people didn't really know what a gym was. So back then, prior to internet and people's knowledge of gyms, you had to seek out a gym if you wanted to. So in my local town of Northampton, I was like, how do I find a gym? Have we even got such a thing as a gym in Northampton? So I looked through the Yellow Pages. Now, Yellow Pages, if you don't know, it's like a directory of local businesses within the area. Used to advertise in this phone book, in essence. It was a phone book for businesses. It was called Yellow Pages because it was printed on yellow paper. So to find a local business, I suppose that was like a local paperback version of Google, I suppose, if you want to call it that. So you just look up what you want to look up in paperback form, and that's it. So I looked up gyms. There was two gyms in Northampton. There was one called Image Gym, which is still going, different location, and there was one called Mike Baker's Health Studio, which is no longer in existence. So me back in when I was 18, I had my first little car, and I thought, right, got my Yellow Pages, got my map, I'm going to Northampton, local town, 5 miles from my house maybe, and I'm gonna check out these gyms by myself. I'm an adult now, I'm gonna go to town. I'm going to town, go to town by myself. Independent now, I've got a car in it. So anyway, off in my little car I went to the local town, parked outside Image Gym. found it on the map, parked outside. Now Image Gym was what that means was in Northamptonian language, was an old, I think it was a shoe factory. In Northampton we're kind of famous for shoes, apparently so, worldwide. We do high quality shoes, or we did until the Chinese took over everything, including what I've got on my chest probably. But it was an old shoe factory, and it looked pretty derelict from the outside. And I pulled up in this car park, and I sat in the car, and I was like, I don't know whether I dare go in there. Look at it. I mean, to me, it looked like I could imagine a film, you know, like on a Reservoir Dog, when they got somebody tied to a chair being tortured. That to me was that building. There was someone in there getting tortured by gangsters. That was the vibe it was giving off to me as an 18-year-old. So I must have sat there for, must have sat there for a good 15 minutes thinking, and I don't remember seeing anyone going in and out of this building. So I was thinking, if you get some like normal people going in and out, maybe it's not that bad. But so anyway, I sat there. Come on, spit it out for God's sake. And then I started the car up and I went round the corner to Mike Baker's. I didn't go into Image Gym. It was so intimidating building for an 18-year-old to walk in there by himself, not knowing what's on the other side. So I found Image Gym found Mike Baker's health studio around the corner, and again it was an old factory building, as all the gyms pretty much were back in the 80s. And it looked a lot fresher, a lot cleaner, in a nicer back street, if you want to call it that. And it had a nice little, what do you call it? Canopy. Is that like a little roof thing that comes out the door? You don't call it a canopy, do you? Awning. I don't know what you call it. But it had a nice little thing over the door, Mike Baker Health Studio, and there was like a little reception area with a plastic potted plant in it, if I remember rightly. And so it looked a lot more inviting for a young chap like myself to go in there. So I went in there, and I was there from 1983 until 1989, I think. And then I plucked up courage after all them years to go to Image Gym. That's it. I'm a big bodybuilder now. I'm going to the hardcore gym, Image Gym, where I stayed there for a number of years. Now I worked it out with my 10 fingers. I competed about, I think it was 10 times I worked it out. Only to a local level. So I didn't compete to a national level, even though I tried twice to get to sort of like the national, the British finals or whatever, but I didn't quite make it. So I was never really cut out to be a bodybuilder. And that wasn't for the lack of trying, because believe you me, I've done everything within my power, physically and financially, to be honest with you, to better myself as a bodybuilder. But the realisation was there that I'm never going to be anything in bodybuilding. So I stepped back from the competing. I only competed every now and then. I kind of liked the process of competing. Not so much the getting on stage was and getting tanned up and getting on stage and doing your little routine in your trunks. Not the greatest bit of it. I preferred the journey there. What's going to happen, and seeing your body changing was like a more of a driving force to me. And I only competed every couple of years because, like I say, I knew I was not going to be a big bodybuilder. So what's the point in putting yourself through hell every once a year for what, a plastic trophy? You're never going to be anything. So there's no point in doing it, in my head. If you want to do it, fair enough. It's you, and we're all different. So I started working for the industry in 1996. Where I worked for a vitamin company up in Manchester as a sales rep. So I was going around all the different, I was going around retail stores, vitamin stores and stuff, selling. We used to sell like vitamins, minerals, herbal products, body care stuff, a bit of everything really. And then I think in 1998 we bought in some sports nutrition products. We had a brand called EAS, which were, back in the day, EAS was fantastic premium product. Their Myoplex Deluxe was pucker. That product was a proper deluxe, high-end Rolls-Royce product, whatever you want to call it. They had some fantastic products. It's a shame they basically fucked it up, but that's another story. So we had EAS. We were the first people to bring EAS to the UK from the States. We had Twin Lab, Worldwide Nutrition Designer Protein, to name a few. And then I worked for a couple more companies as well, including Nature's Plus, which apparently are quite big in America. So that's kind of my background. Then I've had a couple of health food stores, and then I run the little old gymnutrition.co.uk, which I could big it up, but it's basically me, myself and I, running it from home and the van. That's it. So yeah, I'm telling you how it is. But that's the basics behind. Where am I going now? Left. That's the basics behind me and a little bit of background into me. So I'm going to leave it at that. So if you've got any more questions, or if you want me to elaborate on any particular points, or if you want me to shut up, please tell me whatever you want to tell me. And if you got to the end, I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. See you on the next one.